Hello everyone, this is Sanyukta Saxena. I am a certified Tangle teacher. Welcome to my channel. And today we are going to be starting a brand new series, and this series will be on morphing. Yes, it is a technique, or you can say it is a way of tangling wherein we gradually progress from one tangle to the other in such a manner that the movement of tangles or the transition from one tangle to the other is very organic, and there are no breaks, or you don't the tangles don't seem to be like sitting in separate compartments of a string, and the progress and the movement from one tangle to the other tangle is rather very gradual and seamless and organic. Yes, so today and upcoming few sessions we are going to be working on morphing tangles which gel well with each other, and so that is the whole idea of morphing. So let us get started with today's session. I will be working on a slightly bigger tile during the series. This is a 4.5-inch apprentice size tile. Yes, and we will be working with our normal supplies like the Micron O1 or the PN, the pencil, the blending stubs. Yes, you can keep the white chalk and the jelly roll handy just in case we need it. Yes, so these are the general tools and supplies that we use in all our sessions. So let's get started. So I'm going to be starting from this corner of the tile, and what I'm doing is adding a slight spiral, just like we do for the tangle marasu, but with my pencil, just like a string, and then probably extend it something like this. Yes, so this is the string I'm going to start with, and then we are going to use tangles which are somewhat related with each other. Yes, so I'm going to start backwards from here and add a tangle called BUNZO. So there is no harm in inking this string because the ends of the BUNZO are connected. So even if we ink our string, I don't see any issue with that. So I've started with BUNZO, and then I'm going to continue adding my BUNZO inside this spiral. I'm using my Micron PN. You can also use your O1 like this. Continuing to insert my BUNZOs, C shapes connected at the ends, following the spiral that I started with. And now it's kind of merging, going inside. Continue in the same fashion. And probably we can end here, or if you want you can add one more. Yes, that's BUNZO. Now from here onwards I'm probably going to convert my BUNZO into a tangle called MOLYGON. MOLYGON also has the same crescent shapes, just that they are not connected at the ends. So you can take your MOLYGON wherever you wish to. Draw it any which ways you wish, just that as you draw the next one or the previous one closely, the crescent shapes are not connected with each other as far as MOLYGON is concerned. I'm again maneuvering it whichever way I wish to. Again the same shape, very easy to transition from BUNZO to MOLYGON, just that we are not connecting the shapes anymore. They are flying in the air. It's real fun to draw MOLYGON. Just ensure that you aura the previous one. The aura goes to about 3/4 of the previous one. The distance is about 3/4 or maybe half of the previous. And now from here onwards, probably I will start inking the polygons and convert it into moons. Yes, so somewhere here I'm now using the same crescent shape and gradually converting them into moons like this. So we are transitioning from one tangle to the other, which are somewhere similar in the kind of shapes they are made up of, or the way in which their strokes are. Somewhere something is common, which makes transiting from one tangle to the other a little more easier and seamless. And that is what is morphing all about, where the breaks caused by the string kind of disappears. The string is nowhere to be seen, and the tangles blend and gel with each other in a way which looks very organic. Yes, so I'm now moving to my third tangle, which is crescent moon from MOLYGON. Yes, so how you want to, probably we can add one more here. So it's perfectly fine. How do you want to connect? The ways can be different, but it's easy to connect. Yes, because they share the same basic stroke or the elemental stroke, and that's how it becomes a lot simpler to connect them. And that's how morphing is all about. You can also try build that connection by giving a few of the polygons the look of crescent moon, and then finally transiting into crescent moon. Let's see if we can do that also on this tile. First I'm filling up this space with the tangle crescent moon. Yes, now when it comes to this part of my tile, I'm again going to divide it into some sections, probably one more, and I'm again going to use the same stroke, the C stroke, and this time it is the tangle DRUPE. Just like BUNZO, adding curved divisions. Take your time, slowly. Again sharing the same stroke. Like this. Yes, and now I'm going to add an extra aura with or without a highlight. That's your wish completely. So we are still using the same stroke. The C stroke or curved line. Take your time. Yes, continue the same process. You can also add a little more weight to the grid line that you started with. You can also add an additional aura inside it, just the way we have in DRUPE, or you can keep it simple the way I have. That's perfectly your choice. Let's add a little more strength to the line by redoing it, adding a little more pen pressure. Like this. Yes, and then probably with a thinner nib we can add some etching and thatching, whatever you want to call it. A nice enhancement technique which looks really nice as far as the Tangle DRUPE is concerned. Something like this. Yes, I'm going to go on like this and do it throughout. You take your own time. I'm almost finishing adding those fine lines and thatching. A beautiful enhancer. Yes, and now moving on to our BUNZO, I am going to ink it completely. You can also leave a highlight, but I'm going to highlight with a chalk. So I'm going to straight ink my BUNZO to have that drama on my tile. So these sections to be inked in pairs alternatively. Take your time, slowly go to them one by one, ink them. You can also use the bolder nib if you wish to. I have switched to O1. You can use your pen to ink or an even bolder nib. When spaces are small, I kind of like to stick to my O1, gives me more control. So I'm going to go around and ink my BUNZO nice and black. So I'm now switching from my BUNZO to MOLYGON. So I'm going to ink a part of it, kind of switch a little gradually, ink the ends, and then add some orbs inside, because I'm going to add some orbs inside my MOLYGON. Something like this, and then ink the next one even less. Reduce the inking and then add some orbs. Like this. Yes, and then from the next MOLYGON I'm going to add a little fine aura inside, and then switch completely to adding those orbs inside. Slowly take your time, adding a fine aura inside, switching pens again to my O1, and then adding those orbs. Yes, small little things that you can do to make the transition a little more organic, gradual. Yes, can add one more moon here, something like this. And then I'm going to do the same for my molygons, all of them. Add a fine aura inside and then add some orbs. Squeeze in some orbs, yes, just like we do for pork. I'm actually drawing behind, something like this, yes. So I'm almost finishing on the last few. Just adding some tiny ones there. Yes, so I think that's about it. We don't need more. If you want, you can add a small little molygon here. Make sure you have inked nicely. Enjoy the process of your tile turning black from white. Don't haste up when it comes to inking. Yes. So that's a simple one for today. Just to understand the concept, let us now shade our tile. Yes, as far as BUNZO is concerned, I'm just adding graphite on the two ends. So it is basically adding graphite on this spiral that we started with. So you don't need to add on the blacks, so just stick to the edges, the whites. Slowly take your time. Yes, so that's how I'm going to shade my BUNZO. Now blend it. Don't blend too much. You want the center white, like a highlight. We will also redo the highlight with our chalk. So I'm blending but keeping the graphite at the edges so that my center can be highlighted. So blend, pull it towards the center, but leave a patch white. So that's our BUNZO. Now it coming to our DRUPE. I'm just going to add shadow on one side of these lines. There's so many ways you can go about shading it. You can shade under these C shapes. So shade the way you wish to. This is just a suggestion. This is how I feel like shading at this point of time. But as I mentioned, shading in Zentangle is a matter of personal choice. You can shade the way you wish to. Over a period of time, you will realize that some forms of shading look better, and then you start shading them often that way. It's always nice to experiment. So this is not generally the way I would shade my DRUPE. I would shade under the C lines, but today I feel like doing it this way. Yes, make sure you have these whites intact. Don't turn the entire thing gray. That's important. Yes, moving on to our molygons. So here BUNZO, you can add a slight touch on the orbs. Molygons, just a small touch at the ends. You don't have too much space there, so you will just touch the two ends of the crescent shape. Maybe what is already there on your stub may be sufficient to touch that much, but still I'm adding some bit of graphite. Yes, and then use your stub, probably a little pointed one would help to blend better. Take your time. Yes, and then gradually moving to our moons. So you can either shade this area as a whole, or you can highlight these intersections, whichever way you wish to shade it, that's fine. Wherever the lines seem to be going over, under, I'm just adding a touch of graphite there. Not too much. Yes, you don't want the entire thing gray, so just slight touches. Gives a nice over and under feel. Yeah, that's about it. I don't think we need to do anything else as far as graphite is concerned. Let us now add some chalk, so you can highlight the other half of your drupe where you have not added graphite. It gives a nice high and low. Use your hands or use a different blending stub, whichever way you're fine. Running my chalk over the BUNZO. To give that highlight. Yes, and then of course you can touch on your moons also. Not too much, just some gentle touch to highlight the center. Like this. And the same thing applies to your MOLYGON. If you want to give a slight touch in the center, you can, or you can omit that. It's entirely your choice. Yes, a little extra darkness here. To give a little extra depth. And that's it. I don't think we need to do anything else. So this is a tile which used the same kind of strokes from BUNZO to MOLYGON to CRESCENTMOON, and this also used the same stroke, the C kind of stroke, which is part of the Tangle drupe. If you want, you can add some more embellishments on your drupe, or you can just keep it like this. Embellishments, I mean, you can add some puffs if you wish to. Yeah, so that's entirely your choice. Probably 1 or 2 layers. We can add some puffs, very tiny little dots or orbs to highlight your drupe a little more. Yes, so I'm just going to add it for 3. I'm going to close my tile here. This is the first session of our morphing series. Yes, must sign and date your tile. So sorry for the delay in making and posting videos. I was a bit tied up. Actually, I keep making Zentangle artwork all throughout the year, and 2 or 3 times a year I do put up an exhibition of all my work. So I got a little busy with that. Also, I'm taking classes. So if you are interested in Zentangle beginners to intermediate level course, if you have never taken the basic class or the intermediate level class, and you want to learn Zentangle from the scratch, then I do conduct classes, and the next batch is starting from June 24. The details are there on my Instagram handle also. You can search me by my name, Sanyukta.Saxena. Yes, so we'll meet up again in the next session on morphing tiles. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.